The soft, steady hum of London traffic outside Buckingham Palace has always served as a backdrop to history. But in the early months of 2026, that sound seems heavier, laden with anticipation. Inside the palace's gilded walls, a quiet but profound shift is taking place. For months the public has watched King Charles III fulfill his duties with his characteristic stoicism, even as his health has become a source of private concern and public speculation. Yet, the monarchy is a machine built for continuity, and no single figure, not even a sovereign, can halt its momentum. Recent weeks have seen the heir to the throne, Prince William, step out of his father's shadow and into a role that looks, feels, and operates very much like that of a reigning monarch. Courtiers speak in hushed tones of a managed transition, but the rumor that has truly electrified royal circles did not come from a palace press release. It came from the most trusted, least sentimental member of the family, Princess Anne, the Princess Royal. In a rare and candid moment, Anne is said to have revealed the king's final unshakable wish for the future of the crown, a wish that paves the way for William to take the throne sooner than anyone anticipated. To understand the gravity of Anne's revelation, one must first understand the woman herself. For over half a century, Princess Anne has been the relentless backbone of the House of Windsor. Unlike her more flamboyant siblings, Anne has never sought the spotlight, yet she has been its most consistent occupant, tirelessly performing hundreds of public engagements each year long into her 70s. When Queen Elizabeth II passed, Anne was the rock upon which her brother, the new king, leaned. She did not seek power or titles. She sought stability. Therefore, when she speaks, the family listens. According to sources close to the palace, King Charles's final wish is not for a specific law or a new title, but for a specific condition: the absolute, non-negotiable stability of the monarchy. The king, having waited 7 decades to wear the crown, is acutely aware of its fragility in the modern era. He has reportedly confessed to Anne that his greatest fear is not death, but chaos. He fears a contested succession, a diluted institution, or a public that loses faith. His final wish, as relayed by Anne to senior advisors, is for a seamless, immediate, and unanimous transfer of authority to Prince William at the appropriate moment, bypassing any prolonged period of regency or ambiguity. He wants William to inherit not just a title, but a fully operational, respected, and streamlined monarchy, free from the shadow of a sick king. This revelation from Princess Anne changes everything. It reframes the king's recent public appearances not as a stubborn refusal to step down, but as a final tour of duty, a farewell to the roles he cherished. It also explains the sudden dramatic increase in Prince William's public authority. In the last 6 months, William has not just been helping out, he has been leading. He has conducted bilateral meetings with foreign heads of state at Windsor Castle, a prerogative usually reserved for the sovereign. He has presided over the Order of the Garter service without his father present, and most tellingly, he has taken full control of the management of the Crown Estate, a massive portfolio of land and property that is the financial lifeblood of the monarchy. These are not the actions of a stand-in, they are the rehearsals of a king. The private message from Anne, the king's own sister and most trusted counselor, has given the royal household permission to accelerate this process. The institutional machinery is no longer waiting for a death. It is preparing for a living transition, a concept the British monarchy has historically abhorred, but which modern medicine and common sense now demand. The historical parallels are unavoidable, but the context is unique. The last time a British monarch's health forced a constitutional conversation was in 1811, when George III's permanent madness led to the Regency Act, placing his son in power as Prince Regent. That era was marked by political instability and personal excess. Today, the situation is reversed. King Charles is of sound mind but a failing body, while his heir is a mature, popular, and stable family man in his mid-40s. The reference script often confuses abdication with physical incapacity. Charles has made it clear he will never abdicate like Edward VIII. That word is anathema to him. He believes a monarch is anointed for life. However, the Regency Act of 1937 allows for a different path if the sovereign is by reason of infirmity of mind or body unable to perform royal functions. The heir can become Prince Regent. What Princess Anne has revealed is that the king has accepted this possibility not as a failure, but as his final act of duty. He has asked Parliament to be ready to enact the regency clauses without the political infighting that marred previous successions. His final wish is that William take the throne as a regent, and then eventually as king, without a single day of leadership vacuum. Princess Anne's role in this revelation is crucial, because of her own unique constitutional position. As a counselor of state, she is one of the few people legally empowered to act in the king's absence. She is also the only senior royal who has served as a direct bridge between the old guard of Queen Elizabeth II's reign and the new, more modern vision of William. In a private meeting at Gatcombe Park last autumn, which has since been pieced together by royal biographers, Anne reportedly told the king directly, "You have done your duty, now let him do his." This blunt, unsentimental advice is classic Anne. She is not motivated by sentiment, but by the survival of the institution. She has seen the monarchy wounded by the abdication crisis, by divorce, by scandal, and by the departure of Prince Harry. She believes that a prolonged period where the nation's head of state is visibly frail and unable to perform the physical demands of the job, the long flights, the standing for hours, the constant travel would cause irreparable damage. The king's final wish, therefore, is a strategic withdrawal, not a defeat. It is the wish of a soldier who knows when to hand the battle to a younger, stronger officer. What exactly did Princess Anne say? According to a senior palace aide who spoke under condition of anonymity, Anne's exact words to a gathering of the king's senior staff were, "His Majesty's final wish is for the crown to feel light on the next head that wears it." She elaborated that the king spends sleepless nights worrying about William being crushed by the weight of expectation. Charles remembers his own mother's final years, where she slowed down but refused to delegate, leading to a backlog of duties and a sense of a monarchy in waiting. He does not want that for William. The king has reportedly instructed his private secretary to begin drafting the legal documents that would allow William to assume the state opening of Parliament and the weekly audiences with the Prime Minister. These are the core constitutional duties, the reserved powers of the sovereign. By voluntarily surrendering these duties, Charles is effectively implementing a living regency, a move that has no modern precedent in Britain but is common in other European monarchies like the Netherlands and Belgium. The public reaction, interestingly, has been one of relief rather than sadness. Polls conducted in the wake of the rumors show that while the British people have a deep affection for King Charles and sympathize with his health struggles, an overwhelming majority trust Prince William to lead. This trust is not accidental. Over the past decade, William has meticulously built a reputation for quiet competence. He has avoided the political minefields that ensnared his father. He has focused on issues that transcend politics, mental health, homelessness, and environmentalism through the Earthshot Prize, where Charles is an intellectual and a crusader, often clashing with government policy. William is a facilitator and a listener. He has learned from the mistakes of both his father and his grandfather. He understands that the modern monarchy survives not by commanding respect, but by earning empathy. The king's final wish, as revealed by Anne, acknowledges this difference. Charles is essentially saying that the monarchy needs a different style of leadership, now a quieter, more generational shift, and he is willing to step aside to allow it. Behind the scenes, the transition is already being mapped out in a document unofficially called the Bridge Plan. This plan, overseen by the King's private secretary and William's team, details a 6-month transition. In month 1, William would assume all overseas travel, ending the image of a frail king boarding long-haul flights. In month 3, the king would cease his weekly audiences with the PM, with William attending as a fly on the wall before taking over entirely. By month 6, the king would retain the title but delegate all public-facing duties, effectively becoming a king emeritus, focusing on his artistic and architectural passions at Highgrove. Princess Anne is the guardian of this plan. Her revelation to the press was not a leak. It was a strategic signal to Parliament and the public to begin acclimating to the new reality. She is preparing the ground so that when the official announcement comes, there is no shock, only a quiet acknowledgement that the king's final wish is being honored. Of course, this path is not without its thorns. There are legal scholars who argue that a living regency requires an act of Parliament, and Parliament is notoriously slow. There are also the personal feelings of Queen Camilla to consider. How does a wife step back from being the queen consort while her husband still lives? Camilla, however, has proven herself to be fiercely loyal to Charles's vision. Sources indicate she has been a vocal supporter of the transition, recognizing the toll the role has taken on her husband. She and William have reportedly developed a strong, mutually respectful partnership. The greatest emotional hurdle, surprisingly, is Prince Harry. The Duke of Sussex remains estranged, but is still fifth in line to the throne. The transition to William solidifies Harry's peripheral status permanently. Yet, even here, Anne's firm hand is felt. She is known to have mediated a tentative truce, reminding Harry that his father's final wish is for family unity, and that showing up for the coronation of his brother would be a powerful act of redemption. What does this mean for the future shape of the monarchy? Princess Anne's revelation provides the blueprint. The king's final wish is for a slimmed-down monarchy that is active, not ornamental. Under William's reign, which effectively begins the moment he signs the Regency papers, the roster of working royals will shrink further. Anne herself, despite her work ethic, is expected to finally retire to her Gloucestershire estate, her mission accomplished. The focus will narrow to William, Catherine, and their 3 children, with Prince Edward and Sophie, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, providing support. This is the Windsor IV model. It is efficient, cost-effective, and intensely media-savvy. It is the monarchy as a charity, a brand, and a diplomatic asset, stripped of the Victorian-era pageantry that often feels anachronistic. Charles, the gardener and visionary, is planting the final tree in the garden of the monarchy, knowing he will never sit in its shade. He is asking his son to enjoy the shade for him. The international implications are significant. In the Commonwealth realms, Canada, Australia, Jamaica, there is growing Republican sentiment. A seamless transition to a young, popular king like William might be the only thing that saves the crown in those nations. The king's final wish, as relayed by Anne, is specifically focused on the Commonwealth. He has told aides that he wants to use his remaining months of active duty to visit as many Commonwealth nations as possible, not to say goodbye, but to personally introduce his son as the future head of the family. He wants to transfer the loyalty of the heads of state from himself to William directly. This is a diplomatic handover of unprecedented scale. Princess Anne, who has more Commonwealth miles than any living royal, is orchestrating the logistics of this final tour. It will be a grueling emotional journey for a man undergoing treatment, but it is the price of his final wish. In the end, the story of King Charles III is turning out to be one of tragic dignity. He waited his whole life for a role he knew he would have to leave too soon. His triumph is not in his reign, but in his exit. By listening to the pragmatic wisdom of his sister, Princess Anne, and by putting the institution above his own ego, he is rewriting the rules of succession for the modern age. He is proving that the greatest strength a monarch can show is the wisdom to step back. As Prince William stands on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, not yet as king, but as the de facto leader of the nation, he carries with him the weight of his father's final wish to keep the light of the crown shining, not with the fire of a conqueror, but with the steady, reliable glow of a family that finally learned how to put duty first. The throne is not being taken, it is being passed, gently and firmly, from a father's hands to a son's, with Princess Anne standing guard, ensuring that the last wish of the old king becomes the first truth of the new one.